Hello fellow traders, Marv Eisen here from Timeless Dollar Trading Academy, and you're looking at my S&P E-mini chart from Monday, February 23rd, and this is just prior to the market open. And most people who don't really know how to trade, they have their charts set up maybe like this, maybe with a few indicators on it. I keep my chart as simple as possible. I put just the previous day's close, the Taylor Trading Zone that I get from the Taylor Trading Calculator, and the Stochastics. And I use only these three indicators on my chart. And I'm going to place them on my chart, and I'm going to show you how they give you an advantage on how to be profitable as a day trader. Now, I like the Taylor Trading Zone because it is a mathematical model that's been used for over 80 years, developed by George Taylor. The trading zone, which is an average of averages, is calculated on the chart as an area between support and resistance where prices are likely to trade for that day. Is it perfect? Nothing in trading is perfect. And so when it comes to trading and using a strategy, I recommend using a strategy that gives you some flexibility. Now, what I mean is that trading is different on almost every day. And so maintaining several different strategies based on just the indicators that you use is what's going to make you more successful. Trading is risky, right? And so one of the things I recommend is not to trade. Well, how does that make sense? If I'm telling you about trading and using several different indicators, and then I'm telling you not to trade, well, here's what I'm talking about. If things that you're using on your chart don't give you a sense of where prices are likely to go, it's better not to trade. And that's my strategy, and it's a simple strategy. If the indicators that I'm using don't line up with where prices are going, I might choose not to trade. And frankly, most days are not good trading days. But you can use indicators that make more of those days profitable in terms of giving you the indication of where prices are likely to go. And I'm going to start out my chart. I'm going to put the indicators that I use on my chart to give you an example, exactly what I mean, here on Monday, February 23rd. And here I'm going to place the previous day's close right over here. This is where prices closed on Friday, the previous Friday. I'm going to put the Taylor Trading Zone, and I'm going to place the Stochastics at the bottom of the chart. Now, the Taylor Trading Zone, as I said, it breaks down to just two numbers, a support and a resistance number, and this is basically, think of it as a candle. You know, a candle for the day starts out at one end, generally vacillates up and down, but eventually it will move to the other end. So the prices are going to move from a low to a high or a high to a low. And so here's how the market started out just prior to 9:30 on Monday, February 23rd. And I'm going to start the action. This is a 1-minute candle. And I'm going to show you a couple of differences in terms of these strategies and indicators that I use. Now, as you saw, prices at the beginning of the day, again, a 1-minute candle, prices quickly moved up to close the gap. Now, for a frame of reference, there are 10 points between each horizontal line on this chart. If you're trading S&P E-minis, 50 points, $50 per point, 10 points is $500. If you're trading the micro E-minis, which I suggest to most, especially beginner traders, if you're just graduating from paper trading, trade the micro E-minis, it's only $5 a point. And so prices moved just from around 69, call it 69.10, closed the gap 69.25, so about a 15 point profit if you got on and assumed that prices were going to close the gap. And so what was the strategy? Well, the strategy really isn't a strategy at the beginning of the day, because prices are starting out in the middle of the Taylor Trading Zone. Doesn't really tell you anything. Prices are starting below the previous day's close. Now the gap closes probably 70 to 75% of the time. And what's the gap? It's simply the previous day's close versus where prices open the following day. And when I say open, I only trade regular trading hours. That's 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And so I have my Taylor calculator starting out at 9:30. Here you can see 9:30. And I extend it to 4 p.m., okay? And the calculator for this particular day, Monday, February 23rd, was support at 68.64 and resistance at 69.27, okay? So that's where I draw out the calculator. Now here we are at 9:41, just about 10 minutes after the market opened, and so prices closed the gap. And at having closed the gap, they sit right at the resistance level of the Taylor trading zone. And also, and I'm going to call your attention to stochastics, but not on this time frame. I'm going to use a 3-minute time frame to give you a better illustration of how to use stochastics. And so as prices closed the gap and moved up to the top of the Taylor trading zone, and here's the beauty of the Taylor trading zone and how it can assist you, this is where you can use some patience and see where prices are going to go. And again, on a 1-minute candle, prices are moving here. Here we are just about 10 o'clock in the morning. Prices moved from the top of the Taylor trading zone, the resistance, down towards support. Now, the Taylor trading zone for this particular day, resistance at 69.28, 69.29, support at 68.64. And I'm going to show you the Taylor trading zone for Monday, February 23rd, which comes off the prices from Friday, February 20th, because the calculator gives you the trading zone for the following day. And so 69.28 was resistance, 68.65 support, the previous day's close, 69.25, and the difference between the 69.28 and 68.65 is in the gray column, 64 points. All right, so all the information I need to set up my Taylor trading zone on my chart for Monday, February 23rd. And so at 10 o'clock, we can see prices have filled almost the half of the predicted range for the day, that 68-point range, and the probability is that prices are going to fill the rest of the trading zone. Will they? Maybe, maybe not. But nevertheless, it's better than not having the trading zone, right? Because here, if I take the trading zone and I move it off the chart and I just hide it, where do I have an indication prices are going to go? Well, from the trading zone, I don't have it. I do have the stochastics, but I want to go into the stochastics on a 3-minute time frame. So I'm going to change my chart to 3 minutes. So this is a 3-minute chart. And here we can see stochastics a little more clearly. And this was a relatively fast stochastic 733. That's what I use, 733. And here we can see stochastics is overbought, and they're coming into an oversold position over here. So will prices continue down toward the Taylor trading zone? Well, if you don't have the Taylor trading zone, here would be an area where I would recommend getting off because prices are oversold. And so we can put the Taylor trading zone back on the chart. We can proceed for the rest of the day and see where prices are going to go. And as you can see, prices, the stochastic really didn't give us anything to make a trade over. If you got off at the oversold level of the stochastics, you closed your trade right about over here, made a nice profit. If you stayed on, but the stochastics told you not to, you still would have made a very good profit. And so you can use the Taylor trading zone, the previous day's close, and the stochastics. Do they all work? Nothing works all the time, all right? And I purposely point this out to you. The stochastics, though, did give an indication that you could get off having already made a profit. If you saw it, prices moved up very quickly to the previous day's close, closed the gap, and then moved down through the trading zone all throughout the day on Monday, February 23rd. And now I'm going to take you to Tuesday, February 24th, and go through the same kind of strategy using the same indicators. So here we are on Tuesday, February 24th, starting the prices just prior to the 9:30 opening bell. And this is a 3-minute candle. Again, observe stochastics, observe the previous day's close. Now, as you can see, prices opened up on Tuesday just at the previous day's close. So there was no gap trade. But if we are going to trade, we want to get an indication of where prices are going to go. The previous day's close, that doesn't give us any information because prices have already hit that level. So we only have two things to go on. That's the Taylor trading zone, and that is the stochastics. Now, stochastics shows an oversold level, so will prices go up? I recommend not jumping into the market very early in the day. Wait a half an hour to an hour, because we can make a very good profit using the purported range that the trading zone is going to give us and using the stochastics to get on and off within that range. Okay, so let's proceed. Beginning at around 9:30, right over here. There we are, the opening candle, and an oversold stochastic. And notice prices bounced off the trading zone support. Okay, back up toward the previous day's close. Let's continue. Now, here we are. Prices have moved up to 68.76, an overbought stochastic. Should we stay on? Should we get off? You should get off because stochastics is overbought. We can test it. We can see where the next candle is going to go. If we are playing with the market's money over here and we've made our profit, again, 10 points between each horizontal line on this chart. So we're not talking small trades here. If you're a trader and you've been scalp trading and making 1, 2, 3 points, I'm showing you how to trade with a bigger time frame, not much bigger, but with indications of how to make more points per trade. And so having made maybe 15 or 20 points in this trade, stochastics being overbought, we can get off, see where prices go. Okay, getting off was the right move. We protected our profit. Now here we see a doji form, actually a hammer. Okay, stochastics is almost oversold. Okay, moving back up through the Taylor trading zone calculated range for the day. Again, using stochastics to get on and get off and playing the range. Using stochastics to give us an indication of where to get on, where to get off. If we're playing one direction, I recommend not playing the market both ways unless prices hit the early high or early low very early in the day, and then we can assume if the trading zone is showing us some accuracy within the first half hour to an hour, that prices are going to move to the other end of the trading zone range. We can take a trade to the positive side. If the prices are starting up at the high and staying relatively around there, but going down well into the day, half an hour to an hour after the open, we can assume prices are going to trade down through the trading zone. Again, using the stochastics to limit the losses to get on and off so that we don't give back the income, or rather the profits that we've made. So that's how I would recommend using a strategy based on very few indicators, the previous day's close, the Taylor trading zone, and the stochastics. Again, a 733, relatively fast stochastic. So let's talk about the Taylor trading zone. The Taylor trading zone was developed by a guy named George Taylor. He wrote a book called The Book Method. You can get the book on Amazon. A very interesting book to read. If you can read past, the first chapter is very interesting. It talks about how the market is manipulated. So that's very interesting. I highly recommend it. If you can read past the first chapter and understand it, you're better than most people, because very difficult book to understand. And he gives a dozen formulas on how the prices are calculated to get to derive at the resistance and support for the day. I've done the calculations, and here, the way I've set it up, the Taylor Trading Calculator only requires that you enter 4 numbers in the first 4 columns. The first column is the date, and these dates are consecutive trading days. They exclude weekends, they exclude holidays, and days where the market doesn't trade. So I keep my first column consecutive dates. I'm going to show you how I do that. I just drag down. This is a common, regular Excel spreadsheet. I drag down, fills in the dates, and then in the option box I click Fill Weekdays. And that gets rid of any weekend days. So I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, you get it. And so the next 4 columns are the open, high, low, and close for the day. And you have to calculate these, or rather use the numbers at the market close. The open rather, is the 9:30 a.m. opening candle. Again, I use regular trading hours, not extended trading hours. So the 9:30 open, the opening candle, 9:30, is the opening price in the leftmost column or next to the date. The high is the intraday high between 9:30 and 4 p.m. The low, intraday low between 9:30 and 4 p.m. And the closing price at 4 p.m. And that's the opening price of the 4 p.m. candle. It's not the closing price. It's the opening price of the 4 p.m. candle. And from entering the date and the 4 columns of information, everything else is calculated out automatically. So after entering the open, high, low, and close, you get the Taylor Trading Zone numbers for the next day. And that is the 2 numbers in the yellow columns. This first yellow column is the resistance, and the second yellow column is support. The gray column is the range between them. And that is the trading zone that you set up on your chart for the following day. And so these are the metrics that I use. Now, again, if prices are not going to trade within the trading zone, I basically am at a disadvantage because nobody knows where prices are going to go. The Taylor Trading Zone is a good estimate or projection of where prices should go based on average moves over the last several days. And based on those averages, the Taylor Trading Zone gives us that projection. But if prices, let's say prices start out at the bottom here and they move away from the trading zone, I might want to leave it alone. I could transpose the trading zone. I'm not going to get into that on this video. But still in all, I'm just going to go back to what I said at the beginning. This is a simple strategy. Unlike gambling, we do have some indicators that would give us an idea of where prices are likely to go. And if you can master this technique with the simplicity that it really requires, it doesn't require anything complicated. There are only 6 trade setups within the trading zone. If you want to learn them, they're in my course: gap, support and resistance, trend, time and price, momentum, and candlestick. If you learn those 6 trade setups, they're helpful in shorter term trades. They're helpful in recognizing certain repeating trading patterns. And that'll give you more a solid groundwork of how to trade. Because if you're trading seat of the pants, it's generally not going to be a long-term strategy that's going to keep you in the game. But at least if you know what to look for, you can make estimates of where prices are likely to go based on the setup that you're looking at. And so using the previous day's close, using the Taylor Trading Zone, and using the stochastics gives you a pretty good indication of how to time your trades, where to get on, where to get off, and where prices are likely to go during that session. Thanks so much for watching. Trade safely, use lots of patience. I'll see you in my next video. Marv Eisen for Timeless Dollar Trading Academy.